And welcome back, guys. This is part 3 of the setting up Amiga Emulation on the Raspberry Pi 2. So, software part. So this is my Mac desktop. First of all, we're going to need some programs. So I'm going to put all the links in the description below, so don't freak out. First thing is we need we're going to cheat a bit. We're going to use a program called RetroPie. It's not just an Amiga emulator, it's multiple emulators in one package. So I'm going to download that. Now it is quite large, the expanded file is 2 GB in size, so just be aware of that if you've got download caps, etc, etc. So go to the RetroPie website. I'll put the links in the description below. And you want to download, now there is a version for Raspberry Pi 1, so in theory this does work on a first gen Pi, but in practice when I try it, it doesn't. So download that, RetroPie SD card image, so blah 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 blah, hit download, and it starts. Now, as I said, the file's about 2 odd gig in size. So once you've got that, you need another file. Well, you actually need another program. So depending on whether you're on Mac or Windows, I'll determine which one you need. So we're going to have to get away from getting the image which you have downloaded from the computer to the SD card. So on a Mac, we can use something called Apple Pi Baker, and again, the description will be in the link will be in the description below. It's a straightforward program, as you can see here. It's a nice visual interface. Or if you're on Windows, you can use Win32 Disk Imager. Again, a pretty straightforward program to use. Again, I'll put the links in the description below. So once you've got all that, download them, extract them to a folder. So mine's are all in this handy little folder here called RASP2. So we've got the extracted RetroPie version 3 Raspberry Pi 2 image, and I've got Apple Pi. So next thing is I'm going to insert my SD card, well, micro SD card. It's the micro SD card into the SD card converter, into the side of the Mac, and it'll pop up untitled. Now I've erased this, so they're all invisible files, you shouldn't be able to see, but this is a blank. It's here we go, 15 point odd gigabytes. So next thing is double click on Apple Pi. Now it does need admin access, so don't be freaked out if you need your Apple admin password for your computer. I believe it does something similar on Windows. So as you can see, pretty straightforward interface here. So it's detected 2 external things. So the top one is my 2 TB external drive, which is here next to Chuck's Challenge 3D, and below it is the 15 odd gigabyte SD card. So click on that. Next thing is we need to select the image file we want to dump to it. So click on this. We just navigate to where I put it. Here we go. RetroPie version 3 Raspberry Pi 2, 2.2 gigabytes. Click open. See, it's there now, and hit restore backup. Now I'm get the beach ball. This does take a few minutes, and we will skip the video because I don't think you want to sit and watch me watch a ticker go up. But we'll wait till it starts. Here we go. So it unmounts it, and then it starts to do its business. So it takes a few moments. We'll get a time. Here we go. Baking Pi image. Here we go. It's about 10 minutes it takes. So I'll see you in about 10 minutes, guys, when this bit finishes. And flash forward 10 minutes ish. Your Apple Pi is ready. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So shut that down. Your SD card now says boot, and then it add a pile of files. So next stage is eject that, safely remove the pen, the use thing, and it's Pi. So that should be pretty straightforward. HDMI, plug in the USB keyboard and mouse, leave the controller unplugged for now, and then put this in to the Pi and boot it. And the next bit you're going to see is what you see when you first boot this Pi. So this is going to be quite interesting to try and get this done. However, before we do that, as I tagged in at the end of my last video, we need a pen drive, a USB pen drive. So I've got one here. It's an old cheap thing, it's a 2 gig thing, it's not particularly fast. Preferably one with an indicator on it, just to make sure you know when it's finished copying. So here we go, 2 gigabyte USB drive. Notice, ignoring the hidden files, this is empty. And we'll be using this in a moment to get files onto the emulator. All become clear shortly. And welcome back, guys. So we're booting up the Raspberry Pi now, as you'll see on screen. So I'm doing this like I've done it for the first time. There's the RetroPie built on screen. The only thing I've got plugged into the Pi is the HDMI cable, the power cable, the SD card obviously, a keyboard and my mouse. Nothing else. So, emulation station, loading. Once this loads, welcome to the welcome screen. Take this, which is your pen drive, with the folder that says RetroPie on it, and plug it in, and it'll flash. It'll flash keep it until it stops flashing, or the light goes solid or whatever. Right, so now we've done that, we're going to do a couple of basic setup things. So take your keyboard, hit F4, hit space, that'll bring you up to the GUI. Now we're going to type in a command, all in lowercase, and I'll put it on the screen as well. So sudo space raspi dot config. Oh, done it wrong. So again, sudo from raspi dash config. Right, so we'll bring up to software configuration tool. We're going to hit 1, expand the file system. The root partition will be resized, the file system will be enlarged upon the next reboot. Okay, that. This, don't have to do this, but I would. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit right arrow again, finish. But then would you like to reboot now? Yes. And it's going to reboot this. Just takes a few moments to come back here. And then we're going to discuss an interesting issue. Right, so RetroPie. Now, once it loads, takes a few momentos. We are going to do one other thing. You don't have to do this step, but I like it done as well. So it's F4 again, just black space, and do the sudo command again, the sudo raspi.config, and we're going to go to overclock. Now this is at your own risk, but this is a Raspberry Pi 2, so just make sure that select the bottom one. Everything seems to work fine with mine, no heatsink, no nothing, so okay that. Select the Pi 2, hit finish. You don't have to reboot it this time actually, so like no. Right, and if you just type in emulation station, it'll boot back to the emulation station. Right, so we need a gamepad. Now, in the original idea, I was using a wired Xbox 360 controller, which in theory should work perfectly well, and there even is a driver you can install to get it to work. However, I didn't really have satisfactory results, frankly. The controls were janky, and I've spent 4 or 5 hours fiddling with it to get. So it sort of works. So what I'm using now is I'm using this thing. It's a cheap, again wired, PS3 controller, stroke generic USB controller. You buy them online, you know, it was like £6 delivered. So it's got twin analog sticks, D-pad, basically all the buttons that a PS3 or an Xbox One, 360, PS4 all have. So again, USB, so just plug it in. No gamepads detected. So hold A. Now A, as in an Xbox 360 configuration, is the bottom one there. So hold A. Afterglow pad for PS3. Now this looks pretty straightforward, so the D-pad, so up, down, left, right, start, select, A, B, X, Y. Now when it says bottom left and bottom right, that's not the triggers, it's the one above it. So not that one, it's this one. So left, right, date, date. The left thumb, that's when you click it in. Right thumb is when you click it in. Left analog up, down, left, right, right analog up, down, left, right. And that's done. So you hit enter, and you get this screen. So by default, just out the box that we've set up, we have Amiga, and if you use the D-pad, you got Apple II, Macintosh, IBM, ports, RetroPie, ScumVM, Infocom. So if you go back to RetroPie, you can do configurations up in here. For example, if you want to plug in the Wi-Fi or you want to reconfigure the controller, options are up here. There's audio settings. This can all be done in command, but it can also be done via the GUI. So what at this point you need to do is you need to take this that's been plugged into Pi, plug it back into your macro PC, and the next part we're going to be doing that. Okay, so back to your PC or Mac for a few moments. So take your pen drive that's been plugged into the Raspberry Pi. Hopefully, if it had an indicator, it's been flashing oil. And if you followed my previous instruction, before you did that, you created a folder on the drive called RetroPie. Plug it in. Here we go, 2 gigabit USB. This folder called RetroPie, and inside of it there are 2 folders, configs and ROMs. Go into ROMs, and as you can tell, there's a lot of folders in here. For the moment, we're only interested in one that says Amiga. The rest of them are other computers or systems that this thing will emulate. And in a later video I will be covering putting other emulators in the Pi, but at the moment we're fitting with the Amiga. So all these folders are empty, and this is where you put the ROMs, game files, whatever you call them, and or any BIOS files that require. So Amiga games. Here's a folder with some games in them. Now, Amiga games generally are in ADF format. We're just doing a basic setup. We'll talk about hard disk files in a later video. So here we've got Lotus 2, Lemmings 2, Disc 1, 2, 3. I think that's one of the discs is Zool. Zool 2, I think that's an EGA game. And Magic Pockets. So don't ask me where to get Amiga game files. Google it, they're available everywhere, or you can make your own if you know what you're doing through a real Amiga. More importantly, we're going to need some Kickstart ROMs. Now these are still technically copyrighted. There are legal ways to get this. If you purchase one of the Cloanto Amiga Forever kits, which I have a version of, that's where these ROMs come from. Or if you Google Hard Enough or other websites, you will find these ROMs. So what have I got here? I've got Amiga Kick 1.3, so that's the original 1.3 file system 2, and file system 3.1. So basically we're talking 500, 500 plus or 600, 1200 and above. These three are more than enough to play pretty much any of the disc-based stuff. So all we're going to do, copy all the files, drag and drop into the Amiga folder. And I've already got them in here, so I'm just going to replace them all. So done and dusted. So eject your drive, plug it back into the Raspberry Pi, whether it's on or off, reboot it, whatever. It'll flash a few minutes, and what it's going to do, it's going to copy the files from that pen drive onto the SD card inside the Pi. So you only need to do that once, then you can pull out the USB drive and the game files will be on the SD card on the Pi. So we're going to flip back to the Pi now, and we're going to have a quick look at the emulation. So we're back. So if you follow my instructions previously, this has been in your PC or Mac and back into the Pi, and it's copied across to the Pi now. So as you can see, we're back at the main emulator selection screen. So we're going to select Amiga, hit A again, or X or triangle, whatever button it will be. So it's going to boot, and here you have the main Amiga emulator configuration screen. So in this video, I'm just, as I've been saying, this is basic Amiga configuration just to get a game to run. So first thing is, the mouse I'm using is a laser based mouse, so it's really twitchy. So I'm going to go to control, and I'm going to dump that speed right down to 0.25, and that makes it a lot easier to control. Then I'm going to go to display stroke sound. I'm going to change the sound to accurate. Then I'm going to go to CPU, I'm assuming stroke RAM. I'm going to click on browse ROM, and oh look, all those ROM files I put in are there. So we're going to select Kick 1.3, which is the original Amiga, well no, one of the original Amiga ROMs. I'm going to go to floppy drives. Now, it'll emulate up to 4, but in my opinion, if you don't need it, just, so we're going to try one disc game. So we go to disk floppy 0, and we're going to play Magic Pockets, which is one of my favourite platformers of all time. Okay, that. Now, if this is the first time you're running a game, you don't know if it works, set the floppy speed at 1. I know this works fine, so I'm going to put it to 8 because that'll mean the game boots a bit faster. Hit reset, just like resetting the Amiga. There we go. So this is just like shoving a disk in the drive and then resetting the Amiga. So I cracked Magic Pockets. So we left mouse button through all the trainer stuff, and now it loads. Now obviously there's no flashing LED indicator or emulated disk to let you know it's working, but the game will start up in a moment. Again, there we go, there's the music starting, baby boop. So we hit A, or which should be the fire button, or actually circle on this controller, but anyway. So here we go. So we're playing Magic Pocket when it loads. Again, remember, this is a £30 computer, and we built this emulator setup for next to nothing. So at this point the game is running at full speed, full sound. So I'm going to play through the first level. So the cave, ready. So here we go. I played way too much of this game over the years. The issue I was having with the Xbox 360 wire controller was it just wasn't recognising the inputs to the, because I'm using the analog, left analog to control them, even though it's you got a digital controller. Works really well. So up is still jump. So we're getting there. I mean, it's running great. Like that. Give all the sweeties. Obviously want the gold star, but I mean, I played this game on real hardware, emulated things all over the world, and to me, I mean, it actually looks better. It looks great, and it's running on an HDTV, and it's coming through a converter box and then into my Hapog HDMI capture, just so I can record this footage for you to see. So we're about 3/4 way through there with the level. Let's see if I can remember the time I see this stuff done. You should be able to. I think I'm going to need that pint of milk actually. Right, so and then that's a level. So if I soup in the next guy, I'll get a gold star, which will give me at this level mask, which means invulnerability mask. Can I get hit for a period of time, which is good. I think this game is brilliant. I really do. Terrible at it. Barely get past the first world, but that doesn't distract me from the fact I really like it. So kill all these guys off. So get a bubblegum. Navigate my way up here. Ooh. Now we get the gold star. Transporter, full lives, and mask. Damn. I dropped that. Oh, I hit down. So at the moment we are emulating the most basic of Amiga configurations. We're emulating a 0.5 MB Amiga 500 with Kickstart 1.3, which is not the first, but close enough to be the first. Oh, timer's getting a bit ratty with me there. So I'll try to take a few of these guys out when I bicycle, and then not bad. So, to get back to the main screen, on the Amiga emulator, on the keyboard, Control, Escape, and just tap it back to the main screen. And we could resume it, we could piss about with it, but what we're going to do is we're going to eject the disk, and I'm going to reset it, and let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. See if this looks familiar to a few people. 1.3. So again, tap to there. This time we're going to try Lemmings now. So I'm going to put Lemmings Disc 1 in the drive, Disc 2 in the drive, but I'm going to change it up a bit more. I'm going to change the ROM to version 2. I'm also going to give it a meg of RAM, just like a basic 600 would have. Controls, find, display, 600 megahertz, accurate. Now I haven't actually tried this Lemmings game before, so we'll see what happens when I reset it. So this should just boot fine. That's interesting. It seems to be running okay. Come on, load. Lemmings the Tribes. Lemmings to the Tribes, I should say. Fantastic game. So let's just get past the intro now. It is a bit disconcerting with the Pi because other Amiga emulators you hear the disc clicking in when it wants another disc, but in this obviously you don't. Now it is set up for multiple disc support, but not all games support multiple discs, so it might still ask me for floppy swappy. So we're at the Signosis splash screen still. Again, it's not the fastest of things, but it does work really well. DMA design, fantastic. Scottish company, Lemmings invented in the great state of Scotland. So that's enough dancing. So see the I don't know if you can see it well, but it's turned to a insert disk 3. So here we'll do is just tap back to there. We'll eject disk 1 from the primary drive and we'll insert disk 3, which is there, and then just hit resume. And that should, here we go, it's loady. So that's a hot swap a disk as well. And we're going to just hit play. And we're going to go to the beach. Let's go. And I'm using the mouse for this. Flows the flamethrower through there. And again. It's running fine. So I'm just going to speed up the drop rate. And I'm going to just kill everybody because I'm an evil bastard. And I'm just going to tap Control Escape back to there, and then if I hit quit, take a few moments, and then if I hit back, there we go, back to the splash screen. So there you have it, guys. That was setting up and configuring a basic Amiga setup. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope it was useful. There are going to be further parts to this where I try fiddle with more things. The next one I'm going to do is AGA, Amiga 1200 AGA, and show you what that's like on this setup. But anyway, that's how you get basic Amiga 500 plus games working fine. So thanks very much for watching, and take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.